Memory ledger. My comms die mid-step. Not weather? This is a blind silence grid going live, every signal in a 3-block radius dropping to 0. I switch my grip on the segmented blade. Blue-black glyphs pulse along the 3 retractable segments. Veilborn colors, my colors. I keep the case tight against my ribs. 3 translucent duplicates shimmer into place around me, decoys, guilt made visible. The real me stays in the negative space, watching. Across the relay, a figure in black regalia steps out of the mist. Tall, precise, the kind of still that makes civilians kneel without being asked. My name's Elias Ira, Veilborn, Phantom Class Operative. Tonight, I'm here to make sure a memory weapon doesn't end up in the wrong hands. Problem is, the wrong hands just arrived. The case I'm carrying, Neural Spiral Anchor. Numeric manufacture, Malvecra modified. It's a memory architecture weapon, turns consent into chains, rewrites what you think you chose. The kind of tech that lets you walk into a room full of enemies and walk out with allies who don't remember they used to hate you. Malvecra commissioned it, paid Nemeric engineers to build it, hired a corporate fixer named Seraph to deliver it. Veilborn got wind 3 days ago, sent me to Intercept. The mission brief was clean: track the delivery team, disrupt the handoff, secure or destroy the payload, no witnesses, no escalation. Standard Intercept work. Except, my extraction route wasn't as empty as I thought. Lecter Avar Moss, Malvecra Thorn Class Enforcer. Oblivion, Halo, an Eidolon pressure wave that makes people's knees fold just from proximity. His segmented sword hangs at his hip, red-black glyphs already glowing. Malvecra Doctrine made steel. He's here to collect what his clan paid for. I'm here to make sure he doesn't. And somewhere above us, CID, Concordium Intelligence Directorate, is watching. The quiet ones who don't fight clans, just monitor them and pray we don't level the district. They're about to ping me with a warning. Keep your clan dispute contained. We do not want a war tonight. Neither do I. But I'm not giving Malvecra a weapon that turns free will into a multiple-choice question. Nemeric wants clean legal cover. Malvecra wants obedience in a box. Veilborn wants neither. So here I am, holding the prize, running out of tricks. Moss's Oblivion Halo pushes. I push back, blue-black glyphs flaring bright along my blade as the relay starts to shake. There's an old Bastion proverb we don't say out loud much. Memory's the coin, knives are the ledger. Means if you want to change what someone remembers, you'd better be ready to pay in blood. Tonight, we're all paying. Lower Bastion doesn't sleep, it just changes shifts. Rain hammers the tram spines and runs off in silver threads. The air tastes like ozone and burnt synth wax. Neon bleeds through condensation fog, turning alleys into fever dreams. I keep 3 levels up and 2 beats behind. Below me, the Nemeric team moves like they own the night, Seraph in his tailored black. 2 operatives flanking. One human with mirror shades and a shoulder rig. The other an Ampherodon in a gray Enviro suit, webbed fingers drumming a compact case against his hip. The case. Matte polymer, corner beveled, size of a prayer book. Neural spiral anchor if the Veilborn Intercept was clean. Malvecra wants it. I'm here to make sure they don't get it. I move when the rail clamps hiss, ghost across a catwalk junction, pale Noctari skin catching neon before the hydrophobic cloak pulls shadow back around me. My wrist reader is dark killed at 2 blocks back. No telemetry, no mistakes. Subdermal circuits at my temples throw faint silver light. My deep blue eyes track the Ampharodon's gate, counting steps, measuring exits. The team cuts right into the Crescent Market. A slumped arcade of shuttered stalls and flickering holo ads. A Velric scavenger is prying open, a vending machine with a plasma torch. 2 Necrith dockhands lean against a support beam. Bioluminescent skin pulsing in slow violet as they trade encrypted blinks. Nobody looks up. Lower Bastion teaches you what not to see. Seraph stops at a doorway. No sign, just a spiral scratch in the paint old Veilborn mark, the kind that means neutral ground, or else. He glances once at the street, then slips inside. The operatives follow. I drop a level, take the fire escape down, and enter through the side. The bar is called the Undertow Narrow, low-ceilinged, lit by biolume strips and bad decisions. The air smells like ash-fine smoke and mineral water. Behind the counter stands Kaya Vess, blue skin like deep water, blue eyes that could drown you or save you depending on the night. Amarai. Her tendrils are wound with silver cuffs tonight, and she's pouring something amber into a glass without looking. She sees me, and her jaw tightens. "No," she says flat. "Wasn't asking." I move past a table where an Ilarian scholar is nursing a drink, runic tattoos dim under a heavy coat. I angle toward the back corner where Seraph sits alone, one operative at the bar, the other by the door. The case sits on the table like a confession. Kaya's voice cuts low across the room. "Elias, you break something in here, I break you." I don't turn. "Noted." Seraph looks up, Novara polished face, vowels like glass under pressure. "You are unscheduled." "Yeah." I pull a chair, sit. The segmented sword under my cloak shifts, glyphs cold against my ribs. Funny how that works. The human operative's hand drifts toward his shoulder rig. The Ampharodon by the door goes still, bioluminescent spots flaring yellow-green alert mode. Seraph's smile is surgical. "This is neutral ground." "It was," I say. I lean forward, voice dropping to Bastion flat. "You're moving Malvecra tech." Veilborn says no. The item is Namaric manufacture, licensed transfer, Concordium legal. "Sure. And the Malvecra mark on the glyph lattice? That license too?" Seraph's smile doesn't move. The Ampharodon does. He clears the distance, fast-webbed hand going for a hydropressure blaster at his hip. But I'm faster. I kick the table up, send the case skittering toward Kaya, and draw my segmented sword in one motion. The blade snaps open. 3 articulated segments, blue-black glyphs flaring as Eidolon energy floods the channels. The room's temperature drops a degree. The Ampharodon fires. I phase half into subspace, the shot passing through where I was. I reappear behind the operative, pommel strike his spine, and he goes down, wheezing. The human draws compact blaster, 2 shots. I deflect one with the flat of my blade, glyphs flare white-hot, duck the second, and snap my fingers. A translucent duplicate peels off me, lunges left. The operative tracks it, and I close right segmented blade, whipping around his guard, hilt catching his wrist. The blaster clatters. I drive a knee into his gut, drop him. 3 seconds. 2 down. Seraph hasn't moved. Behind the bar, Kaya's tendrils are rigid with fury. A bottle rack is shattered. Mineral water pools across the floor. The Ilarian scholar has vanished. Smart. "You're paying for that," Kaya says, voice cold. I sheathe the blade, segments collapsing with a soft snick. I pick up the case from where it slid to a stop near her feet. Feel the weight heavier than it should be, denser. The edges hum faintly like a tuning fork pressed to bone. "Bill the Veilborn," I say. "Bill you." She slams a glass down. "You don't get to walk in here wearing my mark and trash the place, Elias. We're done." "We were done 3 years ago. And yet here you are." Her blue eyes burn. Again. I almost say something. Don't. The door behind me opens. Rain and ozone spill in. I turn. An Inari trader in the doorway, fox face wet with rain, amber eyes wide. "Concordium sweep," she says, breathless. 2 blocks down. Maintenance drones locking the under-tram line. Seraph rises, adjusting his cuffs. "We will collect our people. You will proceed as you see fit." My fingers tighten on the case. I don't have time for his corporate doublespeak. He's already moving, helping the Ampharodon to his feet, murmuring something in Spirecrest Glavic that sounds like apology and threat in equal measure. Kaya leans across the bar. Her voice drops. "And Elias, don't come back here. Not for a while." I nod once and turn. The Inari trader moves aside, and I step into the rain. Lower Bastion swallows me in 3 strides. I take the north crack lane, narrow, slick, lined with Belric's scrap traders and ashvine smoke. The case rides high against my ribs. The glyphs inside hum a frequency that sets my teeth on edge. Neural spiral anchor, memory architecture weapon. Malvecra's crown jewel. Not tonight. The Concordium sweep has the main routes locked down. CID drones will be scanning every authorized exit for the next hour. The undertram relay at Omega 7 is my best extraction off the grid, forgotten by maintenance schedules, clear path to the Veilborn drop point in Sector 9. I climb a maintenance ladder, cross a service bridge, and drop into the coolant channel access that leads to Omega 7. The under-tram relay stretches ahead, skeletal scaffold over black water, hazard strobes ticking slow and red. And standing in the mist, perfectly still, is a figure in black. Tall, immaculate, regalia trimmed with jagged spirals, a segmented sword at his hip, glyphs dark. Lector Avar Moss. I feel it before I see it. The oblivion halo spreading like pressure, like gravity choosing a side. Two Zint-Spark kids near the scaffold stumble, drop to their knees. A Velrix with a tool satchel goes still, eyes glazing. Moss's head turns. His eyes track my cloak, the way I hold the case, the faint silver glow at my temples. Novara vowels, smooth as a blade through silk. Wrong courier, I see. I draw my sword. Segments snap open, glyphs blazing blue-black fire. Rain hisses where it touches the blade. You figure that out from the colors, or the fact I'm not on my knees. Moss smiles. Both. The Oblivion Halo pushes. I push back. The Oblivion Halo doesn't ask, it insists. I feel it wrap my chest like cold wire, tugging downward, kneel, set it down, walk away. The air thickens. My knees want to fold. The neural spiral anchor case burns against my ribs, weight doubled by the pressure of Moss's will. I don't kneel. Instead, I flood Eidolon into my legs and move. The halo loses grip for half a breath, and I'm 10 meters left, boots slamming wet lattice. I drop a second duplicate, translucent, leaning against the railing with arms crossed, posture lazy. Bait. Moss watches it, head tilting fractionally. Misdirection. Predictable. His voice stays. Novara calm, vowels drawn like surgical cuts. You are Veilborn. Phantom class, if the gate suggests true, you will not outrun doctrine. I circle, keeping the scaffolding between us. My senses map the space. Coolant channel below, black and chemical sharp. Hazard strobes painting red every 3 seconds. Tram rails overhead groaning under scheduled weight. The relay is too quiet. No telemetry chatter, no drone pings, no ambient static. Someone scrubbed it clean. You pre-cleaned the zone, I say, keeping my voice low. Nemerique's work? Moss's mouth curves barely. Corporate discretion. They prefer transactions without documentation. No eyes, no echoes. Right. And when the neighbors notice 2 clans throwing Eidolon in their backyard? They will notice compliance. Moss takes 2 steps forward, boots precise on wet metal. His segmented sword remains sheathed, but his right hand rests on the hilt. Glyphs etched into the obsidian blade segments glow faint red-black. Malvecra colors, sharp and disciplined. You carry Nemaric property modified under Malvecra contract. Return it. Or, I take it, and you, and deliver both. I feel the second duplicate fray at the edges. Too much distance, not enough focus. I let it collapse into mist and spawn a third behind a support girder, this one crouched low, mimicking my real position from 2 angles. The neural cost is adding up. I've got maybe 2 more before the headache becomes a problem. You don't want me, I say. You want the anchor. Take it to Seraph, he'll verify the chain. Seraph is Nemerique's concern. You are mine. The halo pushes again, harder this time, layered with something else. The words arrive not as sound, but as inevitability. Set it down. Step back. Comply. My hand twitches toward the case clasp. My fingers move without asking permission. The compulsion is clean, surgical, threaded through my brainstem like someone whispering instructions I've known my whole life. I bite my tongue. Pain flares, taste blood, sharp focus. I pull Eidolon energy directly off his halo in a thin stream, just a mouthful, feeding it into my own reserves. The compulsion stutters. My hand stops. Moss's eyes narrow. Thief. The lector moves. Not fast efficient. He closes 5 meters in 3 strides, right hand drawing his sword in a single upward arc. The segments snap open with a sound like breaking glass, red-black glyphs igniting along the serrated edges. The blade hums. Low, resonant, the frequency of obedience made steel. I draw and parry in the same motion. Blue-black meets red-black with a crack that rattles the scaffold. Eidolon energy sparks where the glyphs clash. mine cold and wild, his hot and controlled. The feedback climbs my arm, burns my shoulder socket, tells me this man has been doing this longer and better. We separate. Circle. Rain streams between us, catching glyph light and turning the air into fractured, stained glass. You cannot win this, Moss says. Don't have to. I shift my grip, segments realigning with a soft click. Just have to cost you enough that it's not worth the report. Moss's jaw tightens. The halo flares, not at me, but outward. The Zintspark kids collapse fully, curled and whimpering. The Velric scavenger drops his tool satchel and stumbles toward the exit, eyes glassy. A conduit clerk who'd been watching from the upper catwalk turns and walks away like a sleepwalker. Witnesses. Gone. Now it is worth it, Moss says softly. He moves again, this time committed. A precision slash aimed not at flesh but at the case strap across my chest. I twist, redirect with the flat of my blade, but he's already inside my guard. Elbow to ribs. Pommel toward jaw. I duck, sweep low with a boot to his knee. He sidesteps, barely, and counters with something that makes the world go white. A spike of pain drives into my left trapezius, not physical. Worse. The pain writes itself into my nervous system, a marker that will ache for days. Future suffering, prepaid. I snarl, spin out of range, and drop two more duplicates in desperation. One by the ladder, one under the blown-out neon sign. They flicker, unstable, but they buy me a breath. The tram above us shudders. Not scheduled. I hear it before I see it. A low groan of failing metal. The brace joint is complaining. Stress fractures spreading with each impact. Bolts shearing, one by one. Structures compromised, I say, breathing hard. Moss doesn't look up, then finish quickly. He raises his left hand, gloved fingers splayed. The compulsion floods the space again. Not a suggestion this time, but a law. Yield the anchor. I feel my body try to obey. My knees dip. My right hand starts to move the case forward. Then the world pops. Every device with a signal dies. Wrist readers, drone telemetry, hazard strobes, everything. The relay plunges into near darkness, lit only by glyph glow and distant city neon reflected through rain. The silence is absolute, oppressive, calculated. Blind silence. Grid clean, professional. A voice arrives in my ear. Not eidolon, not compulsion. Old-fashioned directed audio, tight beam from somewhere above. Spire Crest Formal. Veilborn Operative. CID Concordium Intelligence Directorate. Observation protocol is active. We are monitoring for escalation parameters. Keep your clan dispute contained. We do not want a war tonight. I don't respond. Can't. But the message is clear, we're watching. Don't make this bigger than it is. Moss's halo stutters. The compulsion phrase, garbled by the signal wash. His face remains perfectly still, but his eyes flicker. One frame of irritation at tools failing. Barrier protocol, Moss says quietly. Not an accusation. A recognition. CID's containment sweep, deployed when clan business threatens to spill into civilian sectors. They're not here for us, I say, finding my footing. They're making sure we don't level the district. Then we proceed with economy. The neural spiral anchor case shifts against my ribs, lighter just for a moment. Like a breath of air moved through it, or a hand that wasn't there. I don't have time to process. Moss is already moving. I phase half into subspace and close the distance. The world's edges blur. I reappear at his flank, blade already swinging low. He pivots, impossibly precise, and meets the strike with his own blade. The impact throws sparks. The scaffold screams. Somewhere above, the maintenance skylight frame gives up its argument with physics, and the floor opens beneath us. The fall is short and mean. I hit first shoulder, ribs, hip, a rolling impact that steals breath and scatters vision. The lower service bay rushes up to meet me, wet metal grating, exposed coolant pipes, the smell of rust and ozone. I tuck on instinct, let momentum bleed through the roll, and come up in a crouch. The neural spiral anchor case slams my ribs but stays strapped. My left shoulder screams. I ignore it. Moss lands like he planned it. A controlled fall, angled to convert velocity into forward motion. He hits, rolls, and rises with his blade already between himself and the world. Red-black glyphs pulse along the serrated segments. His regalia is torn at the shoulder seam. No blood yet. Too disciplined for that. The blind silence is thicker down here, sound muffled, pressure wrong, like the air's been packed in felt. Above, Concordia maintenance drones are starting to arrive, cautious and slow. Their lamps sweep the broken skylight, painting long cones of white through the rain. They won't come down. Not yet. Not while two clans are bleeding Eidolon into the space. Yield, Moss says. Novara vowels tight now, stress bleeding through. This accomplishes nothing. I rise, sword in my right hand, segments clicking into optimal alignment. My left arm hangs loose, shoulder socket angry but functional. Accomplishes you not getting what you came for. I will retrieve it. Moss's halo flares, not at me this time, but at the case. His compulsion threads through matter instead of mind. Release, detach, fall. The strap buckle clicks. The case slides an inch down my ribs before I clamp my arm over it and flood my entire body with cloaking energy. My form shimmers, edges blurring, presence scattering across 6 possible positions. His compulsion loses focus, scrabbles for purchase, finds nothing solid. Moss's jaw tightens. Predictable. Works, though. I move while cloaked, 3 steps right, soundless, blade low. I send Eidolon tendrils erupting from the grating like black roots whipping toward his ankles and knees. They're not strong, but they're distracting. Moss doesn't flinch. He sends his own tendrils, red-black and sharp, slashing through mine like a scythe through smoke. The feedback hits me in the sternum, a phantom impact that makes my cloak flicker. He tracks the shimmer and moves. Not a swing, but a thrust. Blade segments realigning mid-motion to punch through narrow gaps. I sidestep, drop the cloak to free up energy, and parry with the flat. The impact jars my wrist. He follows with a pommel strike to the jaw. I duck under it, slash low at his lead knee. He redirects, absorbs the pressure, and gives me a gift I don't want. The world breaks. My senses shear apart and rebuild wrong. I felt this before. A Malvekra interrogator 3 years back left me bleeding perception for a week. The bay floor is suddenly 10 meters down and 3 meters up at the same time. Moss's blade is in 4 places, each one real. The sound of rain becomes a choir of screaming metal. My proprioception inverts. I'm falling and standing and spinning all at once. Nausea floods my gut. The trick is to stop trusting your senses and trust your body. I close my eyes, breathe through my teeth, and let muscle memory guide the blade. Parry, step, counter. When I open my eyes, the world is still fractured but manageable. Moss is bleeding, a thin line across his left forearm where my blind counter connected. First blood. The lector's face stays calm, but his nostrils flare. Better than expected, Moss says. Lower your expectations, I rasp. Above us, something groans. Not the skylight, the tram spine. The main support brace is fracturing, bolts shearing under uneven weight distribution. A service tram is still clamped to the rail, adding pressure the structure was never meant to hold. Engineering warnings are flashing somewhere in the blind silence void, unheard, ignored. I feel the case shift again, that same phantom lightness like someone's breathing on it from the inside. I risk a glance down. The polymer shell looks intact. The glyphs along the seam are still locked. But the weight. You feel it too, Moss says quietly. Yeah. Then we are both being used. I look up. Moss's eyes are steady, calculating. For half a breath, we're not enemies. We're professionals recognizing the same setup. Then the moment passes. After you retrieve it, Moss says, I will still kill you. You can try. We close again. Blue-black and red-black, Veilborn and Malvekra, 2 doctrines written in Eidolon and blood. The bay is too small for the violence we're spending. I drive in low, blur past his guard, and score a shallow cut across his ribs. He pivots, slams an elbow into my injured shoulder, and the world goes white with pain. I stumble. He capitalizes, another spike of future pain, this time across my right thigh. The agony writes itself in, deep and permanent. Delivered now, paid later. I snarl, phase out in desperation, and reappear behind a coolant pipe. I'm breathing hard, bleeding from a dozen shallow cuts. The sensory distortion aftershocks are still rattling my vision. My shoulder is a hot coal. The case feels wrong, too light, too hollow, like the thing inside is evaporating. Moss is bleeding too, forearm and ribs. His regalia is torn, his breath is controlled but audible. The halo is flickering, he's spending too much, too fast. Above us, the maintenance PA tries to speak. The blind silence garbles it into static, structural, critical, evacuate, evacuate. The drones extend barriers across the upper gap. Soft webbing meant to catch falling debris. A Concordium tech in a white hazard shell leans over the edge, sees the glow of Eidolon blades, and retreats fast. 30 seconds, I say, voice rough. Then they drop foam or worse. Moss tests his left arm. The cut's not deep, but it's bleeding steady. He wraps it in a strip torn from his coat lining, efficient, practiced. Then we finish. The tram spine shrieks. A bolt shears clean through, ricochets off the grating. The entire structure tilts 2 degrees. Or we walk, I say. Moss's smile is thin, joyless. That is not doctrine. Frack doctrine. Frack it indeed. Moss raises his blade. Red-black glyphs flare. Come then. I draw a breath, flood Eidolon into my legs and blade, and charge. We meet in the center of the failing bay, and the world narrows to steel and light. We collide like weather systems. I come in low, blade segments extended in a whip strike configuration, aiming for his injured forearm. Moss redirects with perfect economy, turns the deflection into a counter thrust toward my throat. I twist, take it on the shoulder. Pauldron instead. Glyphs flare where metal meets metal, sparking blue and red. We're too close now. Blade work becomes brutal geometry. Pommel strikes, elbow checks, boot sweeps. I drive a knee toward his ribs. He absorbs it and returns a palm heel to my sternum that sends me back 3 steps. The tram spine shrieks again. More bolts shear. The entire relay structure tilts another degree. Coolant pipes groan. Somewhere above, a drone chirps in panic and retreats. I flood energy through my blade as I close. Blue-black glyphs flare brilliant as I pull Eidolon directly off his sword on contact. The red-black light dims for a heartbeat. He feels it, adjusts his stance. Thief, Moss says again, almost amused. You keep saying that. I press the advantage. 3 rapid strikes, segments articulating mid-swing to change angle and rhythm. He parries the first 2, sidesteps the third, and counters. Black-red tendrils whip from his offhand, wrapping my sword arm and yanking. I stumble forward. He drives a knee into my gut, follows with a pommel strike aimed at the temple. I turn my head just enough. The blow glances off my jaw instead, rattling teeth, splitting skin. Blood in my mouth. I spit and phase half out, slip the tendrils, reappear at his blind side. My blade finds the gap between regalia plates, scores a line across his ribs. Shallow. Honest. Moss hisses. First sound of pain he's made all night. Adequate, Moss says, voice tight. He pivots and strikes. Not at me, but at the structure. His blade punches into the already failing support brace with surgical precision. Metal screams. The bay tilts hard left. I lose footing. The neural spiral anchor case swings heavy on its strap, throws my balance. I catch myself on a coolant pipe hand, slipping on wet metal, and the case goes light. Not gradual. Sudden. Like something inside just finished emptying. Frack. The pipe breaks. I fall sideways, clip my shoulder on the grating edge, and the joint pops. Not a dislocation, worse. A subluxation, the ball grinding half out of the socket and catching on the rim. White-hot pain floods my arm. My sword clatters. My vision tunnels. Moss moves in for the finish blade raise, halo pressing down. Then he stops. The case is open. Not broken. Open. The biometric lock disengaged, lid hinged back, contents exposed. The microglyph lattice wafer sits in its cradle, checksum scars glowing faint amber. The neural spiral overprint. Malvecra's mark curls across the carrier like a threat written in red lacquer. But the payload is gone. No Nemesine salt smell. No data signature. Just a husk, pristine and empty, like someone reached through the blind silence and scooped out the center without touching the shell. Moss stares. His halo flickers, then fades. His blade lowers. Upstream, he says quietly. I brace against the pipe with my good arm, breathing through the shoulder pain. During the blackout. CID. Not them. I cough, taste blood. They don't touch clan business. This was someone else. Someone who knew the timing, the route, Above us, foam nozzles activate. White chemical spray floods the upper gap, hardening on contact, sealing the broken skylight. Concordium hazard teams are rappelling down. White shells, non-lethal restraint gear, voices calm and professional. Structural breach confirmed. Implementing containment. All personnel evacuate zone. Moss looks at the empty case, then at me. His face is unreadable. Novara discipline holding against what must be calculation, fury, and the cold weight of a failed retrieval. "You did not take it," Moss says. "No." "Nor did I." "No." We hold each other's eyes for a long beat. Two professionals, both used, both bleeding, both about to file reports that will end careers or start wars. Moss sheathes his blade. Segments collapse with a soft snick. "Next time, bring friends," I rasp. Moss almost smiles. "I do not need them." He turns and walks into the coolant mist toward a service stair that should be sealed but isn't. The Concordium techs don't see him, or they choose not to. Plausible deniability, refined into art. I wait until the red-black glow fades, then move. My left arm is useless, screaming. I cradle it against my ribs, use my right to grab my sword and collapse the segments. The case sits open on the grating, mocking me. I consider leaving it, decide against it. Evidence, leverage, proof. I didn't fail. I was beaten by a ghost. I pick it up with my good hand, check the interior one last time. Empty. The glyphs still glow faint, like they're mourning what they used to hold. I close the lid, relatch it. A Concordium tech appears at the stair, young, human, nervous. "Sir, this zone is..." I go translucent and slip past him. The tech blinks, mutters, "Void spawned," and keys his radio. By then, I'm gone into the negative space between support pillars, into the crack lanes, into the rain. Behind me, foam hardens into sculpture. Drones log damage. A maintenance, PA crackles, zone secured, evacuation complete. The city's already moved on. The blind silence thins by degrees. Telemetry wakes up. The city remembers how to yell. I collapse in a sub-level stairwell 3 blocks away. The pain in my shoulder is a living thing now, clawed and furious. I brace against the wall and reduce it, the ugly way, the way they teach you not to do alone. Breath in, arm across body, pop and grind. The joint half seats with a grotesque click. I scream into my teeth. It's not fixed, it's managed. Good enough to move, not good enough to fight. I sit in the dark, rain dripping through a vent grate above, and open the case one more time. Run my thumb along the empty lattice cradle. Think about the weight disappearing mid-fight, about the voice in my ear, about Moss's face when he saw the husk. Someone played us. Someone who had access to the blind silence timing, the relay location, the payload itself. Someone who wanted Veilborn and Malvekra to bleed each other while they walked away clean. The case smells faintly of mnemosine salt, just the residue, the memory of what it held. I close it, stand, test the shoulder. It holds, barely. Next time, I mutter, and walk back into the rain. Lower bastion closes around me like a predator that's already eaten. I take the north crack lanes, slick metal, chemical fog, Velric scrap traders shutting down for the night. My left arm is slung inside my cloak, held together with torn fabric and spite. The neural spiral anchor case rides against my ribs, empty as a promise, heavy as proof. I can't return to the undertow, Kaya made that clear. I'll deal with it later, money, distance, apologies. In that order. The drop point is an old transit hub in Sector 9 half collapsed, forgotten by maintenance schedules. Perfect for handoffs nobody wants recorded. I take the service entrance, descend 3 levels, and find her waiting in the shadows. Lyska. Veilborn. Scout class. Pale Noctari skin, short-cropped silver hair, eyes like polished slate. She's leaning against a support beam, arms crossed, blade at her hip glowing faint blue-black in the dim. "You're late," she says. I'm alive. I drop the case at her feet, more than I expected. She picks it up, tests the weight, her eyes narrow. This feels wrong. It is. I lean against the wall, shoulders screaming, "Open it." Liska unseals the case with a flick of her wrist, Veil-born override codes built into her glove. The lid hinges back. She looks inside. Doesn't speak for 3 full breaths. Empty. Yeah. Who took it? Don't know. I roll my injured shoulder, wince. Someone with access to the blind silence grid cloned it upstream while I was bleeding Eidolon with a Malvecra lector. Liska's jaw tightens. Which lector? Moss. Avar Moss. She closes the case, runs a hand through her hair. The Enclaves will want answers. Tell them I delivered what I was sent to Intercept. What happened after that? I push off the wall. That's a question for CID, or whoever's playing both sides. Liska watches me the way scouts do, measuring exits, threats, angles. You look like shit. Subluxed shoulder. Psychic brand on my thigh. Pattern, flay hangover. I shrug with my good shoulder. Could be worse. Could be dead. That too. She secures the case to her harness, checks the straps. I'll take this to Enclave 7. They'll want a full debrief. Later. I turn for the stairs. I need to not be standing right now. Elias. I stop, turn. Liska's face is stone, but her voice carries weight. Moss will file his report. Malvecra doesn't accept failure quietly. I know. They'll come for you. Let them. I start climbing. Next time I'll be ready. Behind me, I hear her fade into the transit tunnels. Silent, efficient, gone. The case goes with her. Evidence. Failure. Proof that someone out there is playing a game we don't even know the rules to. Somewhere across Lower Bastion, 3 sectors deep in the maintenance substrata, Moss sits alone in an alcove that someone once called a chapel because there's a spiral scratched into the paint and the building never argued. Rain collects at the vent edge, choosing which drops matter. He's wrapped his left forearm properly now, sterile gauze from a kit he carries, bound tight. The cuts stopped announcing itself. The micro-tremor is back, the one he tells no one about. He bites an Iron Whispers tab and lets the edge arrive. Focus. Narrowed affect. Pain downgraded from demand to tax. He pulls a gloved finger across the spiral signet on his belt and opens a relay only people like him are allowed to pretend doesn't exist. The Crown of Oblivion symbol. Malvecra's operational mark. Ghosts across the air, low and red. Lector Avar Moss, a Thorn monitor says, voice uninflected. Scythe, tact cadence, precise as surgery. Status. Moss keeps his voice calm, Novara steady. Hostile opposition measured. Veil-born Phantom class operative. Retrieval disrupted by infrastructure failure and third-party extraction. Payload cloned upstream during blind silence event. Resistance measured. Target indeterminate. Compliance pending. Payload status, the monitor says. Extracted by unknown vector. CID observation confirmed but non-participatory. Extraction occurred during active engagement professional grade. High clearance access. A heartbeat of nothing. Then, the Malvokar is aware. The words have weight. Moss breathes once through them. Continue vector. Adjust tools. Identify upstream. Understood. The relay dies without goodbye. Moss wraps the signet back into place and lets the Iron Whispers smooth his mouth into something that isn't quite calm, but passes for it. He flexes his left hand. Feels nothing helpful. On the floor by his boot is a shard of broken neon sign from the relay above. Still glowing faint when he breathes on it, forgetting to glow when he stops. He pockets it like a man keeping a receipt. He stands. Blade a line at his side, red-black glyphs quiet now. His regalia is torn at the shoulder, blood spotted at the ribs. He'll need a replacement. Another expense. Another line item in a report that will follow him like a scar. Next time, he says to a wall that didn't choose sides. I find a noodle cart in the Rust Market, steam and oil smoke, run by an old Ampharodon who doesn't care about anything except whether you pay. He sees my sling, grunts, slides a bowl across the counter. I eat standing up. The drone feed on a nearby screen shows transit alerts. Sector 7 relay maintenance complete. Service resumed. No mention of clan warfare, no footage. The city cleaned it up, filed it away, moved on. I finish the noodles, drop payment on the counter, and walk. Outside, rain hammers the market stalls. A Velrix is haggling over scrap metal. An Amore street performer sings something low and mournful, tendrils swaying with the rhythm. A Nekrith dockworker glows faint violet as he loads cargo onto a hover sled. Lower Bastion doesn't stop. It just shifts, adapts, survives. I think about the empty case, about Moss's face when he saw it, about the voice in my ear telling me to keep the war contained, about someone upstream who knew exactly when to strike. Someone played us. Veilborn and Malvecra bleeding each other while they walked away clean. Professional, calculated, dangerous. My shoulder throbs. The psychic brand burns across my thigh. Pattern flay echoes flicker at the edges of my vision. I'll heal. I'll report. And when Malvecra comes looking for answers, I'll be ready. Rain washes the neon into rivers of colored light. Lower Bastion breathes, hums, forgets. But I don't forget. Not this. Memory ledger. Story file closed.